Good afternoon. This is the special call meeting for the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Friday, August the 12th. It is shortly after the 2 p.m. hour, and we are having a special call teleconference meeting. This is Chairman Oz Nesbitt. I am going to yield this meeting to Commissioner Sherry Washington. Commissioner Washington, take it away.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess that goes in line with your adage that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Commissioner Sherry Washington. First of all, thank
Can't hear a thing.
Neither can I.
Is this meeting being recorded?
Can you all hear me?
Barely. Can you talk a little louder, Sherry?
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm literally yelling at this point. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
I
I don't know about anybody else.
Can everybody else hear me? I know I got a text that I was muffled.
Commissioner, this is Jennifer Rutledge. I can hear you.
Okay. I was saying I would like to thank the chairman and Commissioner Williams for wanting to do this Zoom call so that everybody can hear how the Board of Commissioners plans on using our COVID funding. This is actually Dr. Williams, Commissioner Williams' idea to do it a Zoom call and a called meeting. So I appreciate the candor and wanting to do this in a transparent manner. First, the goal for this afternoon is for us to set priorities and a budget amount for the $3.9 million that we have been allocated through CARES Act funding. I do know that, okay, I just got a text that they could hear me on Facebook, but now they can't, so I don't know what's going on there. I do know that the CARES Act funding, for what I've been told, has 3 phases. Phase 1 was approximately $1.3 million in funding that we received from CARES Act funding, and we used that for public safety. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is Jennifer Rutledge. I'm not sure who else is on the call, and if Deputy Director Bill Vaughn wants to weigh in, please, I will yield to him. But yes, the phase 1 was public safety salary.
Okay,
yes.
so my
Yes,
question to, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, that's correct. So basically phase 1 is complete. So we're at phase 2 at this point, and we're left with slightly over $2.7 million left to spend for phase 2.
When we say that the phase 1 was for public safety, salaries, could you explain that to us? Are we supplementing what did we use it for exactly, and when?
Okay, this is Deputy Director Vaughn. So I don't have the date right now, but I believe we had to, for phase one, it had to be for expenses through September 1st. So it really had to be stuff that was already expensed, already spent. So we had already spent those salaries, so that was the easiest way to reach the dollar amount that was involved in phase one.
I guess what I really like to know is I had a conversation with the sheriff, and he indicated that they had given some sort of hazard pay to the sheriff's deputies. Is this the hazard pay, or is their budget going to be reimbursed with this money, or are we going to or is this additional money that we're going to reimburse the sheriff for an additional amount for first responders?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that right now. I'd have to research that for you.
This is Commissioner Williams. I was looking through the webinar, the ACCG webinar today on using these funds, and they suggest that we make a special CARES Act fund, and that the revenue comes into that fund and goes out of that fund. And it also suggested that we needed a budget adjustment because of the added revenue and the added expenses to our 2020 budget.
So so did they give the procedure on how to do that, or Deputy Director, are you familiar on how we would create another a CARES Act fund, or is that just a line item?
Right now, at this time, that's something I'll have to look into.
I thought maybe the ACCG attorney might be able to help with that too.
Yes, this is Mike O'Quinn. Are y'all able to hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for having me on this call. I think there could be a little misunderstanding from what I've heard so far. Let me try to help. Rockdale County was awarded a total of $3,907,231 in phase one. Of that amount, you got a 30% direct deposit of $1,172,169. That is what we call the advance.
Oh.
The balance of whatever that is, 2.8, is still part of phase one. It's all everything we're talking about today is still phase $1.
So that would have to be spent by September 1st?
Yes, you have to upload your documentation to that 3.9 million mark by September 1st. And I'm not clear yet whether y'all have done that.
So that 3.9 million is only phase one?
Correct.
And then there's more for phase two and phase three?
The governor hasn't promised anything yet on phase two. He's suggested there will be a phase two, but we can't promise that. He hasn't committed to that. We are continuously trying to pin him down on that, but so far he's not committed. But let's get back to this 3.9 million if we can.
Yes.
Can somebody tell me how much you have uploaded in the portal in public safety payroll? Does anybody have that figure handy?
I don't have an answer to that. No, sir.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but you've got till September 1st to do it. And I'm sure that you got enough public safety payroll to cover it between your sheriff and fire. I'm sure you got it. It's just a question of getting it in the system and approved by September 1st.
So are you saying the entire 3.9 million needs to be uploaded by September 1st, or just the first
Yes.
30% of it?
No, all 3.9.
Really? Okay, I thought it was
Yes.
just the first.
No, and I'm sorry if there's been a misunderstanding, but there maybe one way to describe it that I've used is phase one has two parts. It has a part one and a part two, but it's all still phase one. And you had your advance, 1.1 million, and then you got the remaining 70%, but you have to claim it by September 1st.
Okay.
So when you say
And
that
you
we have to claim it, that means that we have to document how we spent it, or how we're going to spend it.
You're going to have to document, well, the simplest and the easiest way to get that money is to use your first responder public safety payroll, and you can use not only payroll but benefits, health insurance, everything. So all your sheriff's deputies, all your firemen, all the ones that are first responders, from March 1st to September 1st, you can claim their payroll and benefits. And I feel confident that's going to get you over this number. You'll have more left over, I'm sure. But that's step one, and y'all need to make sure that happens. Then once you get the $3.9 million in your bank account, then we can talk about how to use it. But right now, I'm very concerned that there's just been a misunderstanding about the two parts of phase one.
Okay. So it sounds like Deputy Director Vaughn needs to go back through, look at all of those, all of that amount for law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, EMA, and submit all of those salaries and benefits to the CARES, this fund to
The
get
CARES portal, that's right.
yes, for reimbursement. And then after it comes back, the rest of the 2.whatever million you said, 2.9 or something, then we can determine how we want to use that in terms of small businesses, rental assistance, utilities assistance, that kind of thing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, ma'am. And that's really a question I'm not prepared to give you any specific direction on right now. That's more of an accounting and auditing question, and your finance people will need to work on that. But I'm sorry if what you thought you were going to discuss in the meeting today is all of a sudden taking a different turn. But
Oh my goodness, that is an understatement. I'm so sorry. Can somebody unmute 8116? That would be the sheriff. Please, he would like to chime in. Sheriff Levitt, are you there?
So while we're waiting for Sheriff Levitt, it sounds like we just need to make sure that we've got everything filed by next Friday or next Thursday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That would be Tuesday.
Friday is my birthday, Dr. Williams. I know that that's a holiday and everything.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's also a major deadline as well, Commissioner, so,
Yeah. So actually it needs to be in Monday. It all needs to be in by Monday so that we are not trying to get into the portal when everybody else is trying to get in, or if not today.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I just ruined somebody's weekend.
Oh, no. Is Sheriff Levitt, are you there yet? Hello, Sheriff Levitt?
So it's my understanding if someone's muted, they have to press *6 to unmute themselves. Like, I don't know that the host can do that.
I didn't have to press *6. Sheriff
I
Levitt,
did.
Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yes, is that you, Sheriff?
I'm here.
Yeah, Sheriff Levitt is on. Okay, great. Go ahead.
We've been listening the whole time. We just been having a
so you
hard
could
time.
hear it, you just couldn't speak.
Right.
Okay, great. Okay, so, all right.
Commissioner Washington, to answer your question earlier, at the very beginning when we asked for hazardous pay, we were told by the finance director, Rosalind Miller, to use the salaries from the open positions that we had. After a lot of back and forth, that was approved, and to our knowledge, that is what was done. Now, the deputies were paid a hazardous pay by those open positions. Now, the question is, it was too much worth of hazardous pay. We had another conversation about utilizing hazardous pay again for the COVID. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we were told that we could use hazardous pay again, and I believe it will come out of the monies that was just awarded. Now, to this date, we have not had any other communications. No one has informed us anything or updated us on anything else. In fact, we have not even heard if that we would even get reimbursed our monies back from this awarded money from the money that we use out of our budget from these vacant positions. Also, I have sitting here at the table with me is my finance manager, Connie Ponder, who also concurs to what I am saying. I also have sitting here Chief Holmes. So that is the update as to how we were able to utilize monies for hazardous pay for our deputies.
Thank you, Sheriff Levitt. Thank you. So, just for me to recap, the money that you all have used for hazardous pay is money that you all used from your existing budget, not anything that was supplemented or reimbursed from the CARES Act funding of $1.3 million. Is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm sorry. Repeat that again.
I said, just so that I can be clear, the money that you all have used for hazardous pay, you used from salaries that were already existing, but you all have not been reimbursed from the money that we have, the $1.3 million.
That's correct, and that's correct. And again, I don't even know if we are going to get reimbursed. That conversation has not happened between us and anyone from finance.
This is Commissioner Williams. I'm looking at this timeline that Jennifer sent out today or yesterday. So we've had this 30% money, this $1.17 million since July 31st. So we've had it for almost a month. So that's interesting. Number one, we didn't know we had it. Number two, Sheriff, you haven't heard anything about getting reimbursed for your hazard pay. I think the thing to me that's critical right now is that we get the rest of that money claimed today or Monday.
Right.
So,
Right.
Commissioner, I am looking at that timeline, and again, Deputy Director Vaughn, don't let me say something about numbers I shouldn't, but I see here, though, that the $1.172 million, that has been spent, and we did know we had it. We spent it on the law enforcement and public safety salaries. Is that right, Bill?
Right, but the sheriff is saying that his budget hasn't been reimbursed with that money.
Now, if it's been paid back to public safety, we're not aware of it. And again, my finance budget manager is sitting here at the table and agreeing to that. So I'm not aware of that. Nothing's been communicated to us. In fact, we didn't even know about the money from the CARES Act. I found out through another agency. It was Conyers PD is where I found out about the money.
Attorney O'Quinn,
Yes, ma'am.
who all can we pay with this this hazard pay? And let me be specific with my question. A couple of our poll workers contracted COVID and during the election, like right after our election, and I was wondering if we could share that money to supplement poll workers or give them some kind of hazard pay since they are dealing with so much public with people coming in to vote in person.
Yes, ma'am. That question was asked of me earlier this afternoon. I don't have an answer for that one yet. I can tell you that hazard pay is reimbursable under the CARES Fund for public safety officers, and the CARES Fund is treating public safety as police, fire, and EMS, but not 911 and not detention officers or jailers. And I simply don't know the answer about election workers. I'm afraid they may not be considered eligible because they're not considered public safety. But for those, but for anyone who you did provide hazard pay to, you can definitely request reimbursement for those sums out of your Phase 1 allocation.
So if we're looking at this 1.17 that's already in our reserves, and it was allocated for public safety salaries, but our public safety salaries came out of the general fund. So now are we tied to how we spend that 1.17 that we didn't have to spend in the general fund? Can we now offer hazard pay? That's one question. Second question is, I'm looking at the guidance that I was given from the finance director that says payroll expenses for public safety, public health, healthcare, human services, and similar employees whose services are substantially dedicated to mitigating or responding to COVID-19. Would that qualify under human services? Would that cover some of our poll workers, or does it matter since technically those funds are all going to public safety? And then we have extra in our general fund.
Right, that's what
allocate as we wish.
Dr. Williams, I was going to suggest when we circle back after we make sure that we're in compliance on Monday at 5 o'clock, that we reconvene, and I was going to suggest that we pay the hazard pay for the poll workers out of the general fund, since we know that we'll have some extra because we're reimbursing. I think that when I talked to Cynthia Welch, I think it might be $40,000. It's not a lot of money.
right. She sent out a list,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So I guess.
So Commissioner Washington, I apologize. This is Jennifer Rutledge. I was looking at what, the memo that came over from the, elections office, and I just want to make sure I have that amount right. I have on here $165,250. You want me to verify that amount just to make sure?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That is very different than the initial conversation that she and I had.
Okay, well, just let me verify with Director Willingham and just get some clarification on that number, and then I'll send it back.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the number. That's the number, Jennifer, that I have also. 165.
165,250. Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, that was not just the hazard pay. That included some other things also, I think, from the Board of Elections.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so just to be clear, then y'all are looking just for a number for hazard pay. So was that 40,000?
I'm so sorry. I haven't looked at the memo from Cynthia as of yet, but I will so that we can see how we want to do it. But I really think that
Okay.
as of right now, we should focus our energies and time on making sure that we meet this Monday at 5:00 deadline, and then reconvene after we make sure that we're in play to receive the rest of the COVID funding, CARES Act funding, so that we can come up with priorities.
I agree. I agree with you.
Okay, Commissioner Washington, can I ask a question?
Sure.
This question is for Attorney Quinn.
Oh, Queen.
Quinn, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Just to get some clarification, can you tell me the difference between detention deputy and deputy sheriff as far as hazardous pay? What is the difference as to why they would not receive the hazardous pay? Because the hazardous pay that we paid out was paid out to not only just the deputy sheriff, but to the detention deputies as well. So when you talk about public safety, I guess for our understanding, what is the difference? Why wouldn't they be included?
Yes, sir. I hear the frustration in your question, and let me say right from the beginning that these rules were made by the governor's office of planning and budget and state accounting office. So I'm only the messenger here. These rules are coming from the state, and the state has interpreted the Treasury guidance that covers the use of this money to say that you can count all of your public safety payroll for first responders who were out in the community. You don't have to prove that they were doing COVID-19 related stuff. It's just assumed that they were, so you get all that money back. But it doesn't apply to detention officers. That's not to say, however, that you can't request detention officer salary if you can document the fact that their duties were changed substantially because of COVID-19, and then you can ask for some of their salary to the extent you can show that their duties changed. So there is an opportunity to try to get detention officers paid, but where y'all are in the process right now, and I want to emphasize this, there's no reason to submit anything questionable. There's no reason to submit anything borderline. You've got, I'm just assuming beyond a doubt that you've got more payroll in your sheriff, fire, and EMS department to cover this $3 million. So get that $3 million with what you got that's easy, and then if there is a phase 2, we can go for these other things like detention officers who had their job duties changed. So does that make sense? It's don't make extra work for yourself. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Get the easiest thing first, and that is your your deputy sheriffs that were out on patrol, your firefighters, and your EMTs, get those first, and get the money in the bank, and then we'll go to step 2. I hope that's clear.
Yes, and this
Thank you so
This
much.
is Deputy Director Vaughn. Yes, I understand what needs to be done, and we will work diligently on getting that taken care of.
Okay. Well, you all, now that we are all clear, thank you, Attorney O'Quinn, for being here. I can't thank you enough because now we are all clear. I'm sure that Jennifer has your number and she will become your BFF now because she knows that there are some of us who have a lot of questions at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
So,
let me just say, let me say, y'all's questions have not been different than any other county in the state. Everybody's struggling with this.
Okay.
I'm just glad we got it handled sooner rather than later.
Later, absolutely, me too. And then, you all, I want to adjourn this meeting at this point so that we can work on getting the documentation that we need for the CARES Act funding, and then we can reconvene after we're sure that we will have the second drawdown for CARES Act funding.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Washington, and we're clear. And I want to thank you, Mike O'Quinn. Mike and I have a long history together. We've worked together for many years. He's very clear and concise and straight to the point. We both have that in common, and we appreciate everybody's participation today. Thank you, Commissioner Williams, Chairman Nesbitt, and thank you, Commissioner Washington, for leading the meeting. Is there anything else today?
No, that would be all.
Okay, great. Thank you. Everybody have a good rest of the day.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.